Hey guys, what's up? It's Grace, and today I'm doing my March wrap-up. I know that I haven't filmed a video in a little bit over a week, and I'm sorry for that. I've just been quite busy, so I haven't had time to film anything. I've read 10 books this month, which is really good for me, and I'm excited to talk about them all, so let's get into it. So the first book I read in the month of March was Steelheart by Brandon Sanderson. This is the first book in the Reckoners trilogy, I believe that's what it's called, and this is a sci-fi dystopia. It follows a boy named David who lives in a world where there's these people called epics, and they're basically superpowered humans, and they're the villains of the world because they're just so corrupted by power. And our main character, David, wants to get revenge on a certain epic, so he joins a group of vigilantes, I guess you could call them, and the story takes off from there. It is super action-packed. The plot twist I did not see coming. I was like, damn! That was good. And I just like, it's one of those books where you stay up really late at night and your heart is just going crazy because it's just a bunch of action. And I gave this 4.5 stars. The only problem I had with it was I didn't like the girl in it, what was her name? I think Megan. Yeah, Megan was her name. And I just didn't like her. Is her name Megan? I don't know. I could be wrong, but I just didn't really like her that much. She was just kind of a brat. So yeah, but other than that, I really enjoyed it, and again, 4.5 stars. The next book I read in the month of March was Red Queen by Victoria Aveyard. This book is super hyped up on BookTube. It's a new release, and if you didn't know what this book is about, it follows a society of red and silver-blooded people. The silver are the royalty, and the red are the poverty-stricken workers. And our main protagonist, Mare, she's red-blooded, and she has a certain power that she's not supposed to have. So that's all I'm gonna say. I had pretty high expectations for this book, but it was pretty good. I gave it 3.5 stars. It was just so much like a bunch of dystopian and fantasy books I've read, especially The Hunger Games and the Grisha trilogy by Leigh Bardugo. I just found so many similarities that I just couldn't look past, and it was more than just those books. It felt like certain aspects in this book were taken directly from other books and put into this one, and it was just really hard for me to see past that, and I felt like the characters were pretty flat for me. I really just didn't really care what happened to them, but I will be continuing on, and I did like the writing style, and I gave this 3.5 stars. Next book I read was Scarlet by Marissa Meyer. This is the second book in the Lunar Chronicles. It's a retelling of The Little Red Riding Hood, and I had picked this book up in December, and I got like 200 pages in, and I had put it down because I think a new release came out. But then I picked it back up this month, and I flew through it. I loved it so much more than I liked Cinder. I thought Cinder was pretty good. I just gave it 3 stars. It was just an alright book, and I just felt like this was just a bunch better than Cinder. I really liked it. I really liked Scarlet and Wolf. I felt sometimes like their relationship was a little bit weird. It kind of reminded me like of Twilighty, like Edward and Bella, and not saying that they're like them, but just like, I don't know, certain aspects of it, I was like, okay, this is a little bit weird. But other than that, it was really good, and I gave it 4 stars. I like Scarlet so much that I picked up Cress, and I never do that. I never like back-to-back read a series, but I loved this book so much. It's a retelling of Rapunzel, and I loved Cress because she was so innocent and naive, and that's realistic for a girl who's been trapped in a satellite for 7 years, and she was a fangirl, and I loved how if she was in a situation that she was really nervous or scared, she would be like, I'm an actress from this movie and I'm playing so-and-so, and so that's how she got through some of her struggles, and I just really liked her. She's my favorite out of like all the girls in the Lunar Chronicles. And Captain Thorn. Oh my gosh, Captain Thorn is so hilarious. I was cracking up through this whole book of just his like one-liners. He was hilarious and super sassy. I loved how everything intertwined at the end. It was just so freaking cool, and I cannot wait for winter. I'm so excited. I don't think I'm gonna get Ferris because I just don't really care that much about Queen Lavanna. She's a bitch, and I really don't like her at all, and I don't think she's redeemable. So I'm just really excited for winter, and I gave this 5 out of 5 stars. The next book I read is Prince of Thorns by Mark Lawrence. I picked this book up in February, and I put it down because I wasn't really enjoying it, but I don't like DNFing books, so I picked it back up. And so this book follows a prince named George, whatever. He's 13 and he turns 14 in this book, and basically he's like the lost prince, and he's coming back to overthrow his father so he could become king. And this fall he's an anti-hero, and I've read books from an anti-hero's perspective, and I enjoyed them because they're a little bit redeemable and likable. but he was not at all. He was just the embodiment of like somebody I would hate so much. He was an awful person. I can't even talk about how awful he was. He was just horrible. And he was only like 14. I know that's not that young back then, but to me it's so young. And yeah, I didn't like this book. The writing was really confusing. There was one point where I thought there was a magic system in this book because the way the author described it, it sounded like someone was doing magic when really they were just like shooting a crossbow. But the way he wrote it was just so weird. And yeah, I didn't like this at all. I didn't like any of the characters. I gave this 2 stars on Goodreads, but it's more of like a 1 star for me. So I think you should know if you want to pick up this book that the main character rapes 2 women in the beginning. It's not described in detail, but it's mentioned, and yeah, so I thought you should know. So after I read Prince of Thorns, I kind of just wanted to pick up something light and easy to get through, and I picked up Fangirl by Rainbow Rowell. This follows a girl named Kath, and her sister Ren are going off to college, and Kath is very much an introvert. She doesn't really like to talk to people. She doesn't really like people. She just likes the internet, and she likes writing fan fiction. And I think that's all you should know about this book. Going into this book, I knew I'd like it, but I didn't realize how much I would like it. I love this book so much. I related to this book on so many different levels. Like, not only did I relate with Kath, but I related with like just the entire story, really, especially the family aspect, because her father is definitely like to a T like my father, with his mental health and everything, and it was just so incredible to this book was just so good. It was just so nice to see that, like, obviously this is fiction, but people go through the same things, and it was just so beautiful, and I loved this book. It made me laugh, and it made me cry, and it was so beautiful. And I wish I could describe my feelings better, but I gave this book 5 out of 5 stars. If I could give it more, I would, so yes. So the next book I read in the month of March was Volition by Lily Paradis. I was sent this to me by Lily and the publisher over at Empire Books, so thank you guys so much for sending me this. I did a full review on this, so I will link it down below, but I gave this 4 out of 5 stars. I really loved this book. It was very complex for a new adult contemporary, and I really love the writing style. The writing style was my favorite. It was very quotable and poetic, and again, I will link my review down below if you want to get more of the details on this book. Next book I read was Defied by Sarah B. Larson. This follows a girl named Alexa who's pretending to be Alex, a boy, so she could be on the prince's guard instead of in the breeding houses like most women. And I went into this book not thinking I'd like it too much because the reviews on Goodreads aren't that good. They're like 2-3 stars, but I really liked this book. I thought Alexa was so kick-ass and such just strong-willed, and I loved her thought process and everything that she did, and I really freaking liked this book a lot. I gave this 4 out of 5 stars, and I am going to be picking up the sequel, Ignite, very soon. I just really freaking like this book, and I wonder why the reviews are not that good on Goodreads. So I would definitely recommend this if you like fantasy. So yeah, so good. Next book I read was Broken Skies by Teresa K. I was sent this by the author, so thank you so much, Teresa, for sending me this. So this is a post-apocalyptic book that deals with aliens, and basically in this world there was a war that broke out that killed 90% of the population. And I don't want to get too into this book because I'm going to do a whole separate review on it, but I gave this book 4 out of 5 stars. I will get in more depth in it in my review, so look out for that if you want to know more about this book. And I gave this 4 out of 5 stars. And the last thing that I read this month was The Things They Carried by Tim O'Brien. This is a bunch of short stories about the Vietnam War, and the author Tim O'Brien was a soldier in the Vietnam War, so you kind of got to see what he thought about it. This book isn't 100% nonfiction because I've been watching interviews with the author Tim O'Brien, and he won't tell you what's 100% real and what's a little bit fabricated and what's just altogether just didn't happen. This book opened up my eyes to the Vietnam War because during high school I never really learned about the Vietnam War, which is pretty sad because I think that the US was really embarrassed on how we treated the soldiers during their homecoming, because during the Vietnam War was the push on the flower movement, which was, you know, peace, love, no war. And so when the soldiers came home, they were treated like outcasts and called baby killers and really just looked down upon and shamed. And, you know, they never got a proper homecoming, which is pretty sad because nowadays, you know, we respect soldiers. We see soldiers in their uniform and we say, you know, thank you for your service. And these soldiers never got that. And they didn't have a choice when they went to war. So that was just really, really sad. Love the writing style of this book. It was really great and really just got you invested into the story. And there was a lot of humor in this book. And, I found myself laughing a lot and, crying a lot too, but with a book so heavy, you need a little bit of comedic relief, and this book definitely gave me that, and I really, really appreciated that. And oh, this book was so good, and I just want my dad to read it really bad because I think he would love it. So I gave this book 5 out of 5 stars. So that was my March wrap up. I don't really know what my favorite book of the month was because I read some great ones. I really, really liked Fangirl, Cress, and The Things They Carried. Those books were so freaking good. So comment down below and tell me what your favorite book of the month was because I would love to know. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.